Hey, this is Brett from WPThemeSpeed, and today we're going to walk through the setup of the Decor theme from StudioPress. This is version 1.0.1. We've covered 1.0 previously, but the sound was screwed up on that video, and so we're fixing that today. So here's the Decor theme. It's installed on our site. We're going to activate it, and we'll check out our site to see what that looks like right after activation. Pull that up in a new tab. And as you can see, it's a little bit blank. We don't have a whole lot in there just yet. All of our content doesn't exist. So we're going to do a couple different things. We're going to pull in the default content for the Decor theme. So to kick that off, we're going to import the XML file that StudioPress offers with that theme. Just to our goal is to essentially recreate the look of the demo theme itself over here on StudioPress. Because later we want to see how fast this theme is in a different video on WPThemeSpeed. So we'll go back and we're going to go into our WordPress tools, click the import tool, go to WordPress import, and we're going to choose a file. So we're going to go in, and I've unzipped the zip file for the Decor theme, and I'm specifically going into a folder that StudioPress includes with most of its themes. It's the XML folder. Within there, they have the XML for this particular theme. So I'm going to select Choose and upload that into my WordPress website. Now, there are some authors or users that oftentimes come up with these XML files. If I have them already, I'm going to map them just so that I don't create duplicates. This is not terribly necessary since we are working with a demo file, but just to show you what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, I include this. I'm going to attempt to download the images. Oftentimes that fails because the demo site at StudioPress blocks images from being downloaded, which is fine. There's ways around that as we work to get this set up. So it pulls in my pages, and it didn't pull in one of the stock photos. So let's take a look and see what we have in our posts real quick. We've got some posts that have been pulled in. We'll check our pages. We've got some pages. Let's check menus. It's pulled in some menu items as well. If we look at our managed locations, it hasn't set a location for the menu. I'm going to go ahead and set that now. And when we refresh our page, this isn't going to set up everything, but it's going to get us started a little bit. So we can see that we have some menus going on. Let's see how that's looking compared to the rest of the setup here. So over here we have what looks like some text. Can't tell if that's an image or not. We're going to find out in a second. We'll go into our headers, and we don't have a header image in here yet. I don't want to use theirs. I always like to use my own. Let me see. For this, I need an image that's 400 by 130 pixels, 400 pixels wide, 130 pixels tall. I don't know if I have one like that yet or not. We'll find out though in a second. So in this case, I'm going to, sometimes I keep one of these in Dropbox. Let's see if I have one of that size. That's far too big. Let me check another location. And there's a 200 by 200. It's going to be a little small. I'll load it in there just for now, just so that we can see what it looks like and probably come back and fix it. Yeah, it's too square. They want something that's rectangular. We'll chop it off a little bit and take a look at that. Just to show you, this isn't ideal. I can rework that image offline, but that's the space allotted for this particular area. You'll notice that my menus are up here. They're not down here next to it like it was in the demo theme. To achieve that, what we need to do is go into Widgets, and we need to set up a custom menu in the header right area. Over here in our theme, there's a section in the right that is widgetized, and if we pull custom menu over and select our primary navigation and hit save, we're going to see two menus when I refresh. Hit the refresh. Now we have one over to the right and we have one up here to the left. that doesn't match the demo theme. So I do want to get this to look like the demo theme as much as possible. So I'm going to go back to menus, and I'm going to manage my locations and set this to nothing. Select a menu as the nothing option. We'll refresh, and we're getting a little closer. Same for page. Sometimes the menu items are a little different in these XML files. Okay, so now we're past that part. What about all these? We've got the setup of the site. We've got some images that are missing. How do we make it look like this on our site over here? For one thing, we've only got a sidebar on the right and not one on the left, so we need to go into our theme settings. So for that, this is a Genesis theme, type of theme. It's a child theme for Genesis. I'm going to go into my theme settings under Genesis, and I'm going to pick a layout, default layout that matches what we were looking at over there. And I'm going to save that setting, and we'll refresh again. Okay, so now we have the space. We just need to fill it in with the items. So what do we have here? We got archives, blog roll, tags, meta. Obviously this is it's a nice looking theme, but it's a little dated in the tools that it uses. So we're going to hop into widgets. We've got a secondary and a primary sidebar. We can tell that the sidebar on the left is the secondary. When there's nothing in it, it'll give it that name, that label. Our primary already had some things in it. I'm actually going to delete these, get rid of them. And I'll refresh one more time. So we can tell which side's the primary and which side's the secondary. Now we want to fill those sides up with some of the things they're supposed to have. So meta, tags, blog roll, and archives for the secondary. So we'll pull in meta, tag cloud, and we had an archives, and a blog roll. I don't even recall how to do blog rolls anymore. It's been so long since I've done one of those. Let's see, is that even an option? I don't believe it is. So I'm going to take a look at how they built that. First off, show you our progress so far. We've got our archives, tags, and meta in there. That's just fine. But WordPress doesn't support easy widgets for that anymore, so I'm going to take a look at this and see how they built it. They may have used a widget or a plugin, or they may have just used HTML. That happens quite often, especially on these demo sites. What do they have here? They got widget, links, and category. They're linking a category somehow. Oh, this is probably how they're doing it. Maybe. No, maybe not. Could have done it from an RSS feed, possibly. Well, in this case, I can't quite figure out how they did it here. I'm going to come in, though, and simply copy the HTML and put this into a text widget, just so that we can have the full look and feel of this particular demo. It's not terribly important. I'm going to get rid of some of the extra tags that I don't need for this. Don't need the div tags, those just came with my copy and paste. And blog roll is going to be up here in the title. So I can also get rid of that line. And we'll save that. Okay, so this should get our left side to match. There we have it. Now we need to get our primary sidebar to match as well. For that, we need a widget with 411 on me, some recent posts, and that's it. So the recent posts are easy enough. First, we'll minimize this. For the recent posts, we just simply want recent post added in, and it's probably about 5. For the widget that they have, there's 2 ways that you can figure this out. I believe this is done through a text widget, and we'll check that. I'm going to highlight a little bit and right or double click to inspect the element. Just let me try that again with it already open. There we go. So we can see this is a text widget. So when they built this, they copied and pasted some items in here. And we want to do the same thing. And actually, they do mention this, I believe, in their instructions as well. As we scroll down, we can see how to configure the 411 widget. There's nothing special about this. This is just a little HTML that they're adding, and they're showing you how to add the same exact HTML. So there wasn't actually any design here. They just happen to have a picture and some text and some links. So don't expect anything fancy on that particular point with this theme. Sometimes we see things in a demo and we think, oh, they must have made some neat, cool tool. Well, sometimes they just use HTML because it's good enough. So we'll paste that in there. And what was the title of that? 411 on me. Copy the title. Save that as well. The image may or may not show up since we're essentially hot linking at this point. And our order is a little off. Yep, see, that's a hot linked image from the demo page, so we need to get that image ourselves. To do that, I'm going to save that image. Save it to downloads real quick. That means I have to upload it into my own media library. Pull up a new tab to do that real quick so I don't lose my spot in the widget work. And we'll go to downloads. What was the name of that file? It was the profile sidebar. Profile sidebar image, there we go. Pull that in. I'm going to click edit just so that I can come in here and get our URL, our local version of that URL. Close those extra tabs. And now I'm going to come back in here and replace their default image, their link to it, with our link to it. Save, and we're going to reorder those because that's supposed to be on top. We should be getting a little bit closer. Okay, so we've got the 2 sidebars, but we're missing some good stuff here within the post. If you might recall, close this so that you can see it. We have a couple different things going on here. We've got some images that are kind of wide, and they've got some dates hovering over top of those images. So let's see if we can recreate that same good stuff. So we've got some banister, pictures of some stairs, and let's see, this time I'm going to put this somewhere easy to find. Oh, looks like I've got these from a previous version. I'll go ahead and save them in here. I'm going to save each one of these images. Save image as again. Okay, so we've downloaded a copy of the image. You'll also notice that this has a nice little continue reading thing at the bottom. Ours shows the entire article, so there's another setting that we'll need to change there. So to get some of those things going, first we're going to hop out of widgets and go back to theme settings. We'll scroll down in the theme settings for Genesis. We're going to check the box to include the featured image, and we'll try displaying post content and We'll give it a shot at 500 characters to see if that's close. We've got a few different image size options. And in this case, I'm going to go with the 730 by 285 image. I suspect that's the right size, but let's just go back and measure a little bit. See if we can tell by looking at the code here what size they're using. They are, if you look down here, it's 730 by 285. That's the size of these images. So that is the size that we want here. And it might even mention that in the settings. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't in the instructions. There it is, how to configure featured images, 730 by 285. So they did cover that in the instructions this time. But if they don't, you can just look and see how they did it in their demo if you need to know. That means that whenever we create a blog article in the future as well, we'll want to use a featured image of a size that's at least 730 by 285. It can be larger, although it will get cropped down. If it is larger, it's best if it's proportional, or at least in the same proportions. Come back in here real quick and save our settings. Now we've downloaded the images and we've changed our settings, but you'll notice we don't have any images loaded into these articles yet. The nice looking calendar numbers do show up, so we need to do a couple quick things. We just need to load in some images for each one of these. So we'll do the first one, which is supposed to be that picture of the stairs. And to pull this off, we're just going to come down here and we're going to load in a featured image. To do that, we're going to upload some files, Decor Theme. I'm going to go ahead and upload all three of these at once just to get the uploads out of the way, and then I'm going to go through and I'm going to select the one with the banister. Set that as our featured image. Go back to our home page. We've got one. Now we need to get the second one, and the second one is supposed to be a picture of a kitchen. Previously it was showing the first image that was loaded in there. We don't want that. We want the featured image to show up. And there's our picture of a kitchen. Set the featured image. Update our page again. Go back to our home page. And we need that third article. Let's check. The third image for the third article is supposed to be a bathtub. Again, load up our featured image. Find our bathtub picture, set the featured image, update our work, and we'll view our home page. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3 images. Now we're showing 4 or 5 different posts. They only show 3 on the home page, so we need to, again, check our settings again. We do want to match number of posts to show. We're going to go 3. Actually, that's probably not where we set it, but I'm going to try that first, just by default. I don't think that's the right area. That's on our blog page. Yep, so we're still showing 5, so this might be a slightly more old school theme, might be powered by our WordPress settings instead of the theme settings. We'll change the blog pages show at most to 3. So this is a WordPress setting. Within settings, go to reading. We'll hit save changes. Refresh our page. 2 and 3, and we're done. And we've got next page down there instead of numbers. You'll notice over here the pagination is a little prettier. Let's see if we can change that within our theme settings. I believe that was an option. Instead of previous next, we're going to go with numeric. Save that. So we're getting there. A little bit at a time. There we go. Now we've got this area down here at the bottom. Let's see, what did they have there? They had a text widget. They've got some recent posts, and then they've got some snazzy little social icons. So a couple things. This is this is all within a sidebar area. These are widgets. And let's see, we have a default widget in there from a different theme that we'd worked on previously, so we've got a little cleanup to do and some updates, but we'll get to it. So we've got 3 footers. And we do want recent post, but not in that spot. We want recent post in the middle, not on the left. We don't want resources, so let's see. Cleaning up a few things. We'll delete that one. Go ahead and delete that one too. Moving that once just to jiggle it around. Okay, so you'll notice I took it out of the first footer widget area, and when that happened, the entire footer disappeared. The way this particular theme is configured is if there's nothing in footer 1, then there is no footer displayed. You have to have something in footer 1 for anything to be displayed in the footer. So a little troubleshooting tip in case you run into it. But we don't want it to be located there either. So we're going to use our text widget inspection trick again to copy some of this HTML that goes in this text widget. Okay, so we'll just copy all that HTML. And we're going to come in here and we're going to add this to footer 1. Paste in our HTML. Give it a title, same one they use, text widget. Simple enough. Save it. Close it. Go ahead and reorder these slightly. And just to show you, with something in footer 1, we do have something showing up. So we've got 2 out of the 3. They also had those social media widgets and a search box. Search box is easy enough to add. We'll just come down here, select footer 3, add that widget. Save and close it. Now, how did they do the social media widget or icons? Well, let's check and see what they have. They mentioned that social media icons on footer 3 is powered by the Simple Social Icons plugin, and then they give us some color code. So there's an extra plugin that we have to get to work with this. And let me check. I may have that already installed on the site. It is a plugin that I've used before successfully. Simple Social Icons. We do have it. I just need to activate it. So we'll turn that on. And now we'll go back to widgets again. This should give us a new widget capability. Simple Social Icons. We'll add that to footer 3. Clicking the Add button. And you'll see we have a number of color options over here. That's where each of those come into play. Default theme. Just going to copy paste these in. This is how it's done. This is where it goes. I believe the order is the same. We'll check and see. Default theme is, or actually, they're giving us the different colors for the theme colors, but we might, let me back up just a step. That's not the colors that go in here. These are colors that go with our themes settings. So let me save our work for just a second so we don't lose our spot. And I'm going to pull up our theme settings in a new window real quick. There are several different colors: default, amethyst, copper, and silver. We're currently using the default, and when we use the default, they recommend then the color schemes here for each of those in case you need them. So if we want to have the same tan color, then this is the color scheme that we'd want, but we might need to test that just a little bit to see where that color scheme goes. So we want something for email, Facebook, feed, a Twitter item, and oh, what was the title? This title is Stay Connected. stay connected. We'll open a new thing. So for mail-tos, this is the code, the HTML code that you'd use for mail-tos, and Facebook. What was the other one? There was an RSS, so maybe it's WPThemeSpeed.com/feed. Simple enough. And Twitter. WPThemeSpeed would be our Twitter. We'll hit save real quick. And when we refresh our page, we should see the search box show up. So we've got some coloring in there, but we're kind of backwards on the colors. We don't really match. We want white icons, brown background, not brown icons with a gray background, which is very difficult to see. So we need to change our coloring around just a bit. We do want this, but we want it for the background color. And we want the font color to be white. Go ahead and close that while we're in here, and let's reorder these because the search box is supposed to go on the bottom. Refresh. There you have it. So we've worked to copy the setup of this theme. That's how it's done. That's how the Decor theme goes together, and you can see that we pretty much match the demo page on StudioPress now. So if you have any questions, please feel free to drop us a comment here in this video. And in a future video, we're going to cover just how fast this Decor theme is on some of the faster hosting platforms out there, because we're all about speed, and your speed comes from your host primarily. Thank you for watching.